All right, well, we are live from the Purdy Sand Spit and the lovely Stina Troyer. Why are you starting our beach walk up there?
Well, it seems like an appropriate place to start because one of the things that Harbor Wild Watch really likes to do, well, it's our mission after all, is to inspire stewardship of the Salish Sea by providing environmental learning opportunities to the people of our community and beyond. And so I was just noticing as we were walking down to the beach to enjoy this beautiful low tide, there's a lot of styrofoam. And talking about beach trash is a great thing to do because we can inspire you to clean it up. And one of the cool things we get to do is partner with organizations like Surfrider and Coast Savers and groups that do a lot of great work, including our own fabulous volunteers, to pick up thousands of pounds of trash every year, and the Purdy Sand Spit is one of these places that
just attracts all the trash. Yep, we've got a lot of trash. I picked up trash yesterday at the Fox Island boat launch because there was a bunch of cans and wrappers left behind, but I don't think I have a trash bag in my car big enough to handle all of this trash, unfortunately.
It ranges from like plastic films to plastic bottles, styrofoam.
Basically evidence of people. We come to the beach to see evidence of animals, but unfortunately we're seeing some evidence of humans and not such a positive light. This I know is a very popular place for lighting off fireworks, and so even months later we might see evidence of this right here. Looks like a tip from a firework. So if you're ever wanting to get out and make a difference in your community, I encourage you, grab a bag, grab some tongs, a bucket, good.
Bags kind of get torn up on the beach.
Ooh, that's a good point.
A nice 5-gallon bucket, so then fill one bag instead of 5 little flimsy bags.
Totally great point. Okay, I want to just take a second. Hopefully you can hear the birds that are shrieking. These are little shorebirds called killdeer. And I don't think I can see them, but I don't think my camera can pick them up. They're kind of swooping. And they're ground nesters, so they may be defending their territory a little bit and going, why are there humans on the beach at night?
Are they the ones, they do the cool thing where they're like, look at me, and then they pretend they're in
yes!
to draw you away.
They're very clever.
Good little adaptation there.
Clever creatures. So yeah, tell us about what else we're seeing here.
Yeah, so we're kind of in the high splashish zone. We're seeing this rack line or strand line, all the stuff that gets washed up by the highest high tides. And it's a great place to start a beach walk because it gives us some clues about what we might be seeing today. And right off the bat, I'm like, there's going to be some eelgrass beds if the tide is low enough. This really thin eelgrass is the non-native species, Zostera japonica. But within the eelgrass, you can kind of, I would imagine, you have lots of beach hoppers, aka the potato chip of the sea.
The little sand fleas, one can't eat just one.
Also known as amphipods. They're, creatures with many names.
And they are a favorite food of fish, which is why Stina says that they're the potato chip of the sea. Everything eats them. Anemones eat them. Fish eat them.
Yeah. Which then, for them to be so high up in the intertidal zone, this is a place where they're going to be high and dry for the exchange of the
hours at a time.
Longest amount of time, and so it's a pretty good deal if they can be where the predators aren't.
Yes.
They're less likely to get eaten.
And then, so they only have to really worry about being eaten on the high tides, which we've got. I think it's a full moon tonight, isn't it?
That's what I agree.
I think it's a full moon tonight. So
I'm gonna note that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna put my rack line back where I found it
because you're kind like that. Leave no trace, right?
Human trash can kind of go along.
Yeah. So this is a beach that I drive past every day. And I drove past today during high tide, and it was amazing to see how far up it was covering about half of those rocks up there. And now we're going to travel down the beach and see how low it is. Yeah, we haven't gotten very far.
Yeah,
There's already some life.
One thing I love about Purdy is this is one of the few beaches where we see native Olympia oysters just kind of doing their own thing. So this, of course, is a Japanese oyster. So a non-native, but still pretty resident in this area. It also is a source of structure, so we see some barnacles living on top of it.
Yep. Any rock that's small enough to not turn when a wave comes is gonna have barnacles on it.
Yeah, I'm also noticing some tiny little snails.
Oh my goodness. You can't even see those, they're so small.
Like, oh, that actually might be, no, that's a piece of sand, that's a snail. But, you know, sand-sized snails. This is tiny, y'all. We are not messing around.
Oh, I love it. Well, we want to know if you're local to this area too, so post in the comments where you're watching from. We love to know kind of how far our message of stewardship is spreading out there. Oh, that's a cool piece of bark. I wonder if anybody's living under there. Oh, it's been drifting for a bit. It's got some worm channels or maybe even clams.
See some little wiggling amphipods.
Tiny things.
But
all right, let's keep going. So yeah, any questions that you have, you can post those in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. We appreciate any likes and shares and comments and all of that. It helps kind of boost the social media algorithms. Ooh, wait. And gets our message out to more people. So I am noticing we just walked over several limpets. So here's one. It's a little, we're talking tiny. And then there's lots of these smaller little snails as well.
bigger than a grain of sand, so they're like pretty much enormous.
Guaranteed we can identify them as snails, so that's something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you start looking closer,
Yeah.
which is a fun exercise to do. Just stop and squat and see what's at your feet. And you might be surprised. Wow, that limpet is really moving. It may not look like it, but that is like the speediest limpet.
Also, in that kind of just looking and noticing,
Oh yeah.
there's a itty bitty sand dollar shell.
Oh baby.
I know it's not alive because I can see the hole in the middle where its mouth would be. It's so tiny that, oh, I guess if you look really close, you can see where its butt is. But they're related to sea stars. You can see that star pattern on the top of its shell.
Hopefully we will see some sea stars tonight. The tide is low enough. So as we travel down the beach, we'll probably kind of begin to see not only the substrate and the sand change a little bit, but the diversity of life and the species will change. So I kind of tend to think of the intertidal zone as like walking through various neighborhoods. We're now in the sand, and the sand is a hard place to live because if you can't bury down into it, you don't have any shelter. So a lot of the animals that live in the sand are going to be buried.
Or living between the grains of sand.
Yeah, or be so small. Okay, what made that track right there? Yeah, something.
Do we want to do a little?
Do it, why not? Could be sand dollars. They sometimes move across the sand. Yes! Okay, so when you spend as much time at the beach as I do, you learn to recognize paths in the sand made by that sand dollar. And this one is alive.
Or dead. It is alive. You can't see the hole in the middle.
And it'll be a
I wonder
little
if we can,
sparkly.
look and see if it will wiggle its tiny little spines.
And the other thing I brought with me today, just because I was curious, was I wanted to see if any of the animals at the beach would fluoresce underneath a black light. So I brought this black light here. Kind of hard to see, but I just wonder. I don't see anything.
I wonder if you turn off
my headlamp, but then people won't be able to see.
Yeah, look away, but look at
It doesn't really glow. Okay, I think it's more reflective than glowy. But I'm going to literally keep this in my pocket, and we'll pull it out when we come across another animal that might be fluorescent. Oh, look, see? So even more trails in the sand. Sand dollars here. So we're going to tread lightly, try to pick areas of sand that don't have these little mounded bumps. Those are animals. But generally, all these animals are down beneath the surface. Oh, yeah, see? So there's another one. The force of our weight is spread out across the sand grains. So you can walk across a sand dollar bed, but you want to stick to stepping on sand and not the animals. This is a cool find.
Is this a plant? Is this an animal? An algae? What do you wonder?
I'm gonna have to go with animal.
Yeah. They're tiny little banded tube worms.
A lot of the worms in the intertidal zone are filter feeders because we have an abundance of plankton in the water. And, oh, what'd you find there? Oh, a couple hermits.
They're shaking hands.
That's all they can shake. This may be a shell dispute. This may be a mating activity. It's hard to tell.
Positive MPG.
Love it. But yeah, so these little worm tubes that come out are housing a little tiny worm that will extend its little feeding tentacles when the water returns, and they'll grab plankton from the water and be safe down below in their burrow.
I'm noticing another type of tube worm. This one with the sandy tube here.
You're not convincing me that that's different.
So these ones are skinny, tiny, kind of with like the band.
Everyone at home just sees sand.
This little sandy lump that is in a tube form is a bamboo tube worm.
All right, Stina's the expert on worms. I just know it is a worm, and I know these are all polychaete worms, which is a type of segmented worm, so similar to the earthworms you have in your garden.
This is a clue that we're in a lower tide zone, so this little snail is, believe it or not, more elongate. It's different than the snails we saw earlier. So this is a alia or dove snail.
Nice.
And so
sometimes you can even see their little foot.
Yeah,
I know you like to share that.
But yeah, they only live in the low intertidal zone, whereas the checkered periwinkles we saw earlier only live in the high. Unless they get washed off for some reason, but or these ones get washed up.
Competition is pretty fierce down here for space, and so animals that are really similar may have just slightly different territories, which is really kind of a cool way to work it out. All right, so we're getting down lower.
We have reached the edge of.
We made it to low tide.
I noticed there's all this like moving around.
So last,
shrimp, probably.
Yeah, last time we did a program on a nice, clear, still night like this, we could just aim our flashlight in the water and the plankton would swarm it. It was kind of distracting, actually, because you're trying to point out something cool in the water and there's a bunch of bugs swimming around, making it difficult.
Like, fall is over. There's still leaves that are like, oh, leaf. Oh, but that's, I want it to be a sea creature. Not a leaf.
Yes. So we will keep our ears open tonight for the presence of some very large marine mammals that have been very active in the area. We've had a group of, I'm going to call it a pride of sea lions, because that feels appropriate to me. A pride of sea lions in the area. That have been super active. They've been here feeding, and they're pretty noisy. So Stina's noticed the lump of sand that indicates a moon snail's underneath there. There we go.
Oh, and I think
Oh, you scared
it
him.
knows I didn't eat a big dinner, so it knows I'm hungry. It's closing up this slimy foot.
It's going to show us that beautiful operculum, though. That's their trapdoor that seals them inside their shell quite safe.
Yeah. It's like a material similar to your fingernails that all snails, I think all snails.
Yeah, all snails have it.
Cool. All snails have to kind of
close them
Close
in.
their soft body parts off against hungry predators.
Yeah, and you can see on the shell itself, that little black spot is where some anaerobic bacteria has been growing, where the operculum sits up against the shell. So this is a snail that doesn't regularly go in, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But beautiful coloration on the shell there, as that's the newest section of shell that's been laid down by the snail's body.
Yeah.
So it's really purple, like, very gorgeous.
Howl to the moon, snail.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll find a few more of these important predators out here tonight. We'll return this one to its hole. It can, come right back out and start reburying itself, but we might as well help it out and plunk it down there. While they're inside their shell like that, they don't really have the ability to breathe, but luckily when they're stuck inside the shell, they're not really doing a whole lot of anything. They don't have a lot of intense body functions like us mammals do, so they're just fine to sit in there for a handful, maybe a couple hours at most.
It's kind of funny in the summertime when they're pulling into their shell, so there's like 4 slits on the foot of a moon snail that open up, and they're like expelling all the water that's in that slimy foot. And so you can always offer, oh, it's such a hot day on the beach, which it's pretty pleasant tonight. But you're like, do you want a moon snail shower? And for some reason,
people just aren't into that. To be fair, it does look like it's peeing. So
it's just surprising. We're not expecting that. Here's an evidence of a cool animal. This is a clam called a heart cockle.
Look at that beautiful heart. Oh, we love it.
Yeah. This is like a fun...
This is another animal I call the potato chip of the sea, because it's the potato chip clam. It's like the ruffles have ridges.
If you want to like have a fun intertidal challenge, I like finding a couple different species of clamshells, and then you close your eyes and you try and feel. So I would observe with just my hands, like, okay, I feel these ridges that are going.
That's an activity. We're gonna play Stump Stina with shells, just like we played Stump Rachel with skulls. I think that would be really fun. Okay, let's do it.
Then we can compare it to this one, which is tiny and eroded.
It looks like a little butter.
It does look like a little butter clam, but I wouldn't feel those ridges as much as
tricky.
This one. And then, of course, again, there's structure, there's life. Here's more of
habitat. Everything is habitat
low intertidal
for something
snails.
smaller.
Here's one that wants to wave at you all.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Hooray!
So cute. He's really saying, like, flip me over.
I'm trying to reach the ground.
Excuse me.
Here, you can have this little shell back.
Very nice. Carry on. Okay, so I've even noticed, like, just as we've been standing here for a moment, the tide has traveled away from us. This is a pretty shallow section of beach, so you can walk out quite a ways, which means the water's got some traveling to do. Oh, here's a moon snail shell, just the shell, but we've got some activity of smaller creatures like little Sitka shrimp, and there's even some barnacles feeding on the shell. They'll kick out their little feet to grab plankton from the water. Look at that.
Shadow?
Yeah, the shadow's what you can really see. Oh, I love it. So, and a Krangen shrimp. Hello, little Krangen shrimp.
Camouflage at its finest.
And there we go. Oh, there's one burying right there. I can't even tell. Yeah, these shrimp are so.
There it goes. Where'd it go? We don't know.
We don't know. Where'd the shrimp go?
Will you poke it?
No, don't poke him. He'll be fine. We don't have to see him bury all the way. Would you lift that shell though and show us all the Sitka shrimp that are hiding there? Nice. Oh, and a tiny crab. That's a baby red rock.
Oh my gosh.
Stina, look at it.
He's so cute.
So I can tell the identity of this tiny, very well camouflaged crab. I lost it. I can't even see it. He's buried again. Yep, right there. There it is. because it's just the shape of its shell. Oh, it's gone.
And really, kind of it's like the way it hides. It's like the adults will do the same thing.
So it could be a graceful crab, but I'm fairly certain that's a red rock because it's kind of pointed at the edges.
Yeah.
Nice. Adorable. See? You just stop, look closely, and there's so much to explore.
That's a cute little noticing song your kids sing.
Oh, yeah. It's a Daniel Tiger song. Oh, yeah, you gotta look a little closer to find out what you want to know. This looks like maybe moon snail. Little depression here. Oh, but wait.
Oh.
Okay, aim your light at it, because my light is...
Your light
Oh,
is
okay.
nice and bright.
I
Mine
have...
is,
Hold on, I got a backup light. Maybe. Come on. No, not... Okay. Well, here we go. We have this incredible... Here, I'll just hand this to you.
Oh, perfect.
There we go. Now we can look at it without the shadow of my...
What are we looking at, you might ask? Cool, student
We get
Rachel.
really
That's
excited,
some nice
and you're
sand.
So these long tentacles are stringy and stretchy, and they belong to the spaghetti tube worm, which is another type of tube worm, another polychaete. And these worms have exceptionally sticky, stretchy feeding tentacles that we can see. So they absolutely look like spaghetti, but spaghetti that has, can move.
Maybe more linguine.
Yeah, angel hair.
Angel hair pasta. Wait, linguine's the thick one.
Yeah,
Oh,
not linguine.
Clearly, we
not
know our
fettuccine.
intertidal creatures
Not-
better than we know our pastas. It's fine.
So yes, this is the trabellid worm. Let's go to scientific names. You can't mess
Perfect.
those up. But a really, really
I just
cool
want to be
find.
clear, we're talking about this thing in the sand, not this
Yeah.
eelgrass.
So when it is touched, it will withdraw those
Wow.
tentacles in. And he says, "Oh, panic! Go in, go in, go in!"
No tentacle left behind. Nice.
Amazing. And they're pretty well protected down in the sand, but they also can make a burrow if they're in a rocky habitat. They can grab shells and sand from the environment and kind of mix it with some mucus and make themselves a little tube.
Yeah. It's actually, I think there's another one right here.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because we're in this, the tide's going out right now. So we're in this very shallow.
Yeah, we're in
Like,
less
I
than an inch of water.
think they would retract their tentacles if the water was gone. But
Yeah.
being that we're in a
Let's
fraction
see
of water
if
here.
They glow. I
Yeah.
don't think they glow. No. Ooh, something.
You see the reflection of your light?
It's the algae. See the green algae is
Oh!
red?
Whoa!
That's just a little hunk of uva.
That little. Okay, I'm
That little
I'm
green
gonna
thing.
point to it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the worm's gonna.
Crazy.
That is very cool. I was not expecting that. Let's go find more ova. We have. I'm gonna guess it's Mari King says, I think to that little crab, it has like a Darth Vader helmet,
Yeah.
which is a very good connection. I like that. Did we want to? I might pass this back
yeah.
to you if you want me to dig.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's see if moon snails glow in the dark.
Right? Okay.
It's hard to decide where it might be. I would...
It looks more like a clam hole.
Yeah. Which, I mean, might be attracting a moon snail. Oh, but here's a carapace of a little red rock crab. Long dead, but you can kind of see the shape. Alright, where are you, Mooney? Maybe. Maybe it's this side. Maybe there's nothing at all. Maybe I lied to you.
Fluff up my tube worms.
Sometimes I do get fooled.
Try not to
Spoiler alert, this is Rachel's footstep from earlier.
Oh.
No, just kidding. We haven't been here yet.
Right.
That would be funny though.
Here's a new clam trap.
Ooh, yeah. We haven't seen one of these yet. Wow, look at all those dove snails.
Guessing, horse clam?
Yeah, horse clam. Fat gaper clam.
Fat gaper. Or wash.
Which sounds like a mean insult,
It
but
does.
Let's walk out a ways. You got waterproof boots, and I do too. So.
Some of this eelgrass habitat.
Oh yes, eelgrass. Here, Stina, I'm gonna give you the black light. Go shine it on things. Ooh, hey, are you alive there, little crab? You look alive. Although that arm sitting right there is looks a little suspect. Okay, we've got a graceful crab here. Really at home in this eelgrass habitat. And this is one of my favorite crabs to handle because when you hold them, oh, you poor thing, you're missing some legs. Maybe that was your arm over there. Luckily for you, you're young and you can regrow those. So life's been rough for you, buddy, but hopefully you can carry on. The graceful crab glows? All right.
Well,
the eelgrass is kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Okay, this other graceful crab.
So maybe it's not every graceful crab. How funny. It's not a very powerful blacklight either, so.
They had like green.
Is it this one?
It's that one. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Hard to see with the glare, but kind of neat. Kind of neat. All right.
Maybe it's in the water. Well, I don't know. It's kind of green.
It would be really brightly fluorescent.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
it's just
never
purple light on a pale crab. What'd you see?
It's a stick.
Oh, a bigger graceful crab. And is that a? Yeah, that's another one. So here's more of a teenager, getting close to adult sized. Graceful crab. They have really beautiful purple. And this one is one that is regrowing an arm. So for a crab this size, excuse me, friend, that pincher should be much larger. But to regrow, missing one. Gosh, like we said, this is a rough neighborhood out here in the intertidal zone. But lots of crabs. And then if you can look closely on these blades of eelgrass, there's so many shrimp and snails and hermit crabs. Amazing. Lots and lots of life. All right, I'm going to backtrack a little so I don't walk across those eelgrass beds, because that's very key habitat for lots of species. Even though this is the Japanese eelgrass, it's still important. We'd rather see Japanese eelgrass than no eelgrass, I think. And the Japanese eelgrass tends to be closer in, a little more shallow than the Pacific eelgrass. So there is quite a good native eelgrass bed here.
I think at this point it's like been around for a long, like,
yeah.
It's an interesting discussion of like, at what point has something been part of the habitat long enough that it's like,
yeah, right,
part of it again.
right. Has it naturalized, as they say? All right. So the tide's gone even lower. So that a new crab? Ooh, that is a new crab. So if you tuned into our live last night, you got to see about 1,000 of these guys. These are northern kelp crabs. They're a really fascinating species. They get called spider crabs a lot because of their body style, but that's kind of a name for the shape of their body, not really a species name. So Pugetia producta is their scientific name. And this one's a male, and I can tell without even flipping it over to look at their belly flap because it's got really big pinchers. So those, I call them the Popeye pinchers. They've got the big forearms there. But Stina can flip it gently and confirm. Ding, ding, ding. The little triangle belly flap there in the center of their abdomen, that's their indication that we're looking at a male for sure. And that bright red color is just stunning. Amazing.
When handling these, I always notice how pointy their toes are.
And how flexible. They're really good at reaching behind them. And juveniles of this species can even decorate a little bit. They can kind of stick a little bit of kelp or usually sea lettuce on the top of their rostrum there to disguise their shape, and it fools a lot of people. Nice. They'll get about maybe twice that big. Nice size. It's very calm out here tonight. You can see looking across the water, it's pretty flat.
There's the full moon.
Oh, there's the full moon. It's less impressive on camera than it is in real life.
Hey, what's really impressive is how fast the clouds are moving across it.
Yes,
Kind of
that is.
Okay, maybe not that fast, but
A good time lapse for sure.
yeah.
Ooh, I sunk in a little bit. Somebody asked if we were sinking into the mud. And generally no, but sometimes if you get into a really quagmiry spot, you might sink a bit. That looks like somebody's under there, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Ta-da! Moon snail. We can leave that one buried, but
Okay.
cool to see.
Here's its foot.
The foot feels like moving raw chicken. Is the best way I can describe it. It's raw chicken that moves. Let's see if it glows. Any glowing? No glowing. All right. Too bad. I really had hoped that moon snails were like secretly super fluorescent. That would have been exciting. There's been some new species that have been discovered to fluoresce. Duck-billed platypus, of all things. Like, if they weren't weird enough, they glow. Whoa! Stina's gonna lose a boot.
Why?
All right, let's walk around. I'm gonna guess there's some little burrowing creature that's undermined that whole area. Like, literally undermined it. That's where that term came from. And made it a little weak down there. Ooh, look at the cool algae. Oh, is this? It's not algae. So we're looking at some hydroids. These are actually animals on this shell. And then the orange color is a bryozoan. They look very animal or very plant-like. They're filter feeders that are related to anemones. Oh, look, we've got a bottle here. I really wish there would be like an octopus inside. That'd be amazing. I do see somebody inside. I think it's a limpet. No octopus. Oh, but look at this. A free living scale worm. Nice. So most scale worms that we're familiar with are commensal animals, which means they live in close association with another animal. They kind of hitch a ride. But this one is solo.
It's like a little muppet.
They do. They remind me of those like worms on a string.
Yeah.
There he goes. Super cool. I just like last week learned the name for their little plates on the top of their skin, but now I can't remember. So I guess I didn't learn it. I'm gonna have to Google something again. There you go. Yes, capture that for science. You need my light? Do you want my finger?
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. So we made an Instagram post about that last week. So if you're super curious, you just need to know what the plates are on the outside of a scale worm. There's where you'll find it. Somebody's definitely under there, but we'll leave it. That's good to see so many moon snails out here. Moon snails are predators, and where you find predators, you obviously will find prey. So that's always a good sign when we see those big creatures. No sea stars yet, though.
I know. I keep being suppressed.
This beach, oh, here's a not commonly seen animal. This is a Metridium plumose anemone.
At least not seen in the sand.
Yeah, in the sand is what I meant.
Maybe
Like
on
on rocks,
boulders,
yes.
We'll see it, but like What are you doing?
What are you doing? I don't know. Carry on. Live your life. Don't mind us. There's so many of these duff snails though. All these little black rocks that you see are not rocks. Those are snails. They're this beautiful kind of mahogany color. And they're like the cleanup crew. They're the garbage men of the sea. Oh, see, here's another big track. Somebody's moving under there. I'm gonna guess moon snail by the size of it. Ooh. There's some clam activity, and then the killdeer are still calling at us. A jeep. Cool. All right. Ooh. Here, I'm gonna hand this to you. I gotta fix my headlamp.
Yeah. Hi, Rachel. Look at that headlamp excellence.
The light of the sun. Thank you to my husband.
Yeah. So we're getting some good questions. One, what does a moon snail eat?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Little children. No, just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Not this clam.
Clam
actually,
children.
Probably this clam. So right here, you can see this little hole.
Your light is so bright. Okay, good.
Okay, can you see that little hole?
Yep.
Perfect. I'll just hold my head at this weird awkward
I
angle.
think here, I'll look at it. You can look at it.
Okay,
Oh,
it's
dear.
fine. This clam was probably eaten by a moon snail, and this little hole that you see right here is evidence that at least an attempt was made. Moon snails are carnivores. They're feeding exclusively on clams, and they have this tongue that's like a chainsaw that scrapes down through the shell. And this is down at this end of the clam's body is where their muscle that holds the clam shut. And then they can also use their big foot to suffocate the clam as well. So that's probably what eventually happened here is the clam died of suffocation, and the moon snail said, well, I'm not going to keep burying this hole, and just ate it out.
Yeah,
from
so
the
for
other side.
Reese, who's out there offering your children, that is a slow, painful way to go. I think
it takes about 4 days.
we'll let you take that back.
4 days. Oh, Stina, look at that.
Oh, yeah. So you just have to say, we haven't seen any orcas yet. Weird. Yeah. Where are they? And then,
and then we'll see one. Look at the blue on that.
That is a gorgeous mottled star. Yeah.
Just like stunningly blue.
Super.
So the mottled stars get their name because their gills and their skeleton or their skin are often slightly different colors, but this one's blue on blue, so
I think it's doing a like whoop whoop Harbor Wild Watch.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Striking. What is your Harbor Wild Watch pose? I don't think mine looks as good as the sea stars does.
No, that is true. That is marvelous. Yeah, this is one of the more common species that we see. And they get big, maybe about 2 foot across. It's so pretty, I don't want to disturb it.
Yeah, I think I'll take some pictures of it
before
we move away.
off. Yeah.
Here, I'm going to pass you this. We had another question about if there's gooey ducks here.
Oh, yes. So there are gooey ducks here. One of the characteristics that gooey ducks like in a beach is this soft, silty sand that doesn't have too much algae growth. And doesn't have too much eelgrass. So this is perfect gooey duck habitat, but they like it deeper. And so you really only see them on like a negative, maybe 2.5 foot tide or so. It's got to be out a ways for them to be happy. So you can dig them if you have a shellfish license, but be prepared because it's probably going to take you all day. They're about 3 feet down. And they're excellent excavators, and it's a lot of work. I'm hearing lots of splashing over this direction. There's got to be horse clams spraying. I don't know why I'm walking towards it. I'm just going to get splashed, but I got rain pants on, so here we go. It'll be fine.
You're the reason it's not raining right now. It's being risky.
I know. So the splashing, you probably can't hear it, but it is happening. All right, so we're getting closer to the bridge. Oh, there's a little splash here and there. Lots of clams. Oh, so here we go. Here's a horse clam for you. So this is the siphon. And horse clams, you can tell them they're different from geoducks. This one's pretty old because it's got barnacles living on the outside of it. But they have kind of this almost fibrous margin on them. So I can show you just a gentle poke and they'll go right down below. The clams squirt to breathe. So they'll squirt to get rid of the water that doesn't have oxygen in it. They'll go down below where the cold oxygenated water is. Take a breath and kind of just sit here. They also wait for the tide. Oh, look at this.
Nice.
Here we go. A wild chicken cutlet.
I can't handle that.
Because it's so accurate. Okay, see if they glow. Do they glow?
That's pretty.
I think it's just reflective. But yeah, okay, Sina, tell us about this wild hunk of chicken.
Well, my friends, I need to compose myself.
Sorry to make you laugh.
I'm trying to think of sillier jokes, but I think that's pretty silly.
Okay, give him a little
Yeah,
tickle so we can see how it moves.
I kind of want to show, here's that spiral shell, which kind of gives it the name moon snail, because we look at the full moon, you're like, oh yeah, you're totally moon-like. I don't know.
Resemblance.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Some
why not?
resemblance. But you can kind of see, so I know that the front of the snail is on this end over here. You can see it kind of curls its foot in a way, and that will help, like if it was
get
underwater,
water to the
draw
gills,
water over its body to the gills. There'd be two little antennas that sometimes will poke up. So then you can just kind of see.
Like chicken that moves. They're ticklish. They do react to touch. So great. And they are technically edible, but they're not a legal take species in Washington because they are an important predator of clams. They're opening up new habitat for like the next generation of clams that are going to settle out from the plankton in the water. And so it's important that we have these predators here. So don't go eating them.
Yeah, and if you remember from earlier in our video when we saw the moon snail expelling all the water that's in its foot, there's really only about as much animal that fits inside the shell. So while this is a big shell, like it's really just not a lot of
it's
meat
pretty
for
tough too.
an individual.
Stick with chicken. Stick with chicken.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, cool. I think just like looking at the cool texture of the skin, I mean, it feels, like a chicken cutlet.
It's
also maybe like Jello is another good.
yeah, but
Moving a live Jello. I don't want a live chicken cutlets either, though.
yeah, I mean,
Both are cold and slimy.
super weird. But I mean, when I say it feels like a chicken breast, you understand what I'm talking about.
I do like, so this is a part of the foot that folds over. So sometimes you see on the beach what looks like these like plungers, which are actually the egg collars from the moon snail. And that will get extruded from this flap, so it'll like mix the
So they
sand
kind of
and
mix
mucus,
it and
lay the
squirt
eggs,
it out, and then
extrude it from that area.
and then they flip upside down and put like extra mucus on it, which is
and
crazy.
they're doing that
underground,
the sand and like putting the sand color.
But if you've ever seen one of those funky sand collars, the inner circle is this shell diameter, and then the outer edge of it is formed by the foot. So you can always tell the size of the snail that laid those eggs, which is super cool. And we'll start seeing those as the day length increases. Usually about March is when they first start showing up, although you might be able to see one now if you're lucky. But yeah, super cool. Yeah, all right, let's keep going. Let's just walk to where it gets to rocky again, and then we can kind of wrap it up. It is very chilly out tonight, although it's not really raining. It looks like rain. This is all shrimp activity that you're seeing. All the movement in the water.
There's some birds.
Oh yeah, you can see little little silhouettes of scoters.
they're a little small.
Yeah, they are a little
They've
small.
got long beaks.
Interesting. Okay,
My,
you'll have to trust
birds
us.
at night
Your bird
identification.
silhouette ID isn't.
Yeah,
You're not
not on
not
point.
tip top shape.
Hey, here's a nice
Oh, hey.
star.
Here's another. This is another species we saw a ton of at the Fox Island Bridge last night. So this is the leather star. You can see it moving just a little bit because it's still in a bit of water. When the water goes out,
Facebook is saying, "Hey, everybody, it's waving to you all."
it's slowly. So they are really smooth, whereas that model star we saw before is very rough. The model stars to me feel like concrete, like wet, squishy concrete, if that makes sense. Whereas this definitely feels like wet leather. You'll notice the very tip of every arm, it extends upward. It's kind of a fun detail if you're ever drawing a sea star. They're never fully flat. They always tip up at the ends, and they have a little tiny eye spot there so they can navigate through their environment. They've done some studies on reef-dwelling sea stars and found that they have the ability to identify landmarks within their environment, so they can tell where their home is, which is crazy because this is an animal with no brain. So do with that information what you will. This seems like this is a stellar, get it? A stellar spot to end up our broadcast.
Because we always like to talk about, sure, Rachel and I are out here talking.
But the real stars.
The stars are our supporters who tune in and make it worth doing this. So like these videos, share these videos, ask us questions, make comments. We love all of that. And we'll consider you
the star. I love it. Yes, and for all of you that do want to support Harbor Wild Watch, we make that really easy for you on our website, harborwildwatch.org. And if you can't support us financially, do what Stina said and just share and like and comment on our videos, on our TikToks, on our YouTubes. Right now we're
push the YouTube?
Yeah, push the YouTube,
so
Stina.
If we get 1,000 subscribers, gotta subscribe to our channel, then it's more likely for us to bring.
We can go live from the field.
So, if we can do that, so share these videos, but really go
subscribe to YouTube.
We'll post these videos on YouTube later. But at some point, if we have enough subscribers, we can simultaneously do YouTube.
You can broadcast
and
to
Facebook
everywhere.
at the same time.
I love it.
And bring it to classrooms, which would be really rad. So do that.
So yes. All right. Well, we're gonna sign off now. It's been super fun. I hope you learned. I hope you had fun. And I hope you're nice and warm and cozy at home because it's chilly out here. You can see your breath.